This is Kamera Points in the Bible, day number 35, Leviticus chapter 11 through chapter 13. The points in the word today, guys, I just see it as God teaching us what is considered as clean and unclean, clean and unclean animals, different things. And I think about back in the day, before we have the advancement of technology, of science, it was very important that God taught them a lot of stuff. He teaches us still, but at that point they didn't have all the studies and the observations and the just the knowledge that we have now. But so you'll see where he says what is clean and what is unclean. And he made it pretty simple with the animals. He said those animals that had a divided hoof and chewed the cud, then those animals were considered clean. If they did not, or they had one or the other, then they were still unclean. Like a rabbit. A rabbit had divided had they chewed the cud, but it didn't have the divided hoof. Pig, it had a divided hoof, but it didn't chew the cud. So rabbit had it chewed the cud, but it didn't have the divided hoof. I think I said that already. Just wanted to make sure I said that. And so, but yeah, people eat rabbit now, and people eat pig. Well, anyway, I don't know what they have to do to clean it, but God has said that back in that day they were considered as unclean, and even if they died, you couldn't touch them. They were unclean, and yeah, so they couldn't eat those things. They were unclean to eat. But He also covered the birds. Certain birds you could not eat. They were considered unclean. For example, the eagle. Certain vultures, ravens, all ravens, certain owls. He called a lot of owls, gulls, hawks, storks. Yeah, the bat. You cannot eat a bat. I don't know about now, but back then they were considered unclean. Insects. Yeah, you can eat a grasshopper and you can eat a locust. You can eat crickets. Yeah. And then he mentioned the little scurry animals like rats and great lizards, geckos, and those things you cannot eat. They were considered as unclean. Yeah. The sea animals, the sea creatures, if they had fins and if they had scales, you can eat them. If they didn't, they were considered as unclean. And whoever touches them when they are dead will be considered unclean till evening. When one of them dies and falls out of something or onto something, that article, whatever it touches, is unclean. They had to clean those things. Isn't that something that was just that serious? So he also goes over God. This is what God says. He said, "I am holy. Consecrate yourselves and be holy." So He's holy. He wants us to be holy, clean, 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 clean. And I believe that God is more about the heart. Those things He talked about was more like the physical things that we touch physically. But God wants our heart to be holy, to be clean. And we need to be careful what we ingest in our spirit, in our minds. What is considered as unholy, what is considered as unclean. So He wants us to guard that and be careful. He even talked about purification after childbirth. It's different for the man, for the male birth than the women birth. And the woman, after her day of her time of during her time of I guess when she was after having the birth, then she had to be purification session time, length of time, and then she had to bring an offering. Yeah, then he had regulations for skin disease, and you'll notice there he talks about scars, rashes, burns, diseases of those types. I believe he was teaching them how to identify if something was wrong with your skin, because one of the things he mentioned I thought was funny: if a man loses his hair, he loses his hair and go, he's not. That's not a disease. He's just gone bald. So he's educating them. We know that now, right? Yeah. And yeah, those different diseases, and they had to be it was the priest who had to determine whether there were diseases or not, whether they were unclean or not. And if they were unclean, they couldn't participate in the holy ceremonies. Isn't that something? Yeah, he even talked to them about mold, how to identify mold. And of course, the priest is the one who had determined, and how to clean or burn it. Mold, guys, mold on fabrics, wool, linen. So yeah, they didn't have the advancement of science and technology, the knowledge that we have now. So yeah, God was teaching them how. Isn't that something though? We serve a good, a loving God who looks out for us. So he was teaching them about what is clean, what is unclean. And that's pretty much what I get out of that. When he talks about purification, clean and unclean, he's mainly talking about our hearts. That's what he's talking about. Back in this day, he had to be physical about the things that we already know about, or we can just Google it or ask a doctor, because our advancement in knowledge. Yeah. So, guys, if you have any points you'd like to add, place them in the comments area. There you have it. Points in the Bible. Day number 35, Leviticus chapter 13. Chapter 11 through chapter 13. You have a God-filled blessed day.